This is a Leitmotif and Movement podcast, a father and son's journey into the vast worlds of music. I am your host, Mike Ficklin, and joining me on this epic musical journey is my son,
Michael Ficklin.
This show is dedicated to the discussion of music and introducing Michael to music from the past and present. We discuss music mainly from the genres of rock, hard rock, and heavy metal. We also, from time to time, dive into film and video game scores, and we sprinkle in some surprises along the way. Michael, what have you been listening to this week?
I have been listening to, of course, like, I would have to recount the amount of albums on that playlist.
If you're talking about the playlist that I made, it's 18 total albums.
Well, there's the answer.
Yep, we listened to 18 total albums for today's spectacular, where we're going to reveal our top 5 records of 2025. Outside of that, you haven't listened to anything?
No, but I did 10 albums, but...
You listened to 10?
No, like, I picked 10.
Okay. So you got, 5 honorable mentions then?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, for me, I checked out the new record from the T Club titled Chasm. This is the 6th record from the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania-based progressive rock band and the first one in 6 years. I admit to being surprised by this release. I had absolutely no idea it was coming. I love being surprised. To start, you can hear and feel every ounce of love and attention to detail put into these songs. There's a lot of variation between and within songs, which keeps things interesting. You get some more jazzy sounding songs. You get some more keyboard synth-driven ethereal songs. You get some rockers. You get some slower acoustic ballads. There's some really fantastic drum work from Daniel Monda on this album. Check out the amazing fills and patterns on Low and Lonely for a fantastic example. At times, I hear a bit of Muse influence, not only in the music, but in the vocals from Daniel and Patrick McGowan. I also hear some garage rock influence on the sound that reminds me of the sound of Ours' record Precious. Some standout tracks for me are Silicon Sally, Ear on Arm, Go to Hell, Altered One. This is one of my picks of the week. The next record I checked out was the new record from Lynch Mob titled Dancing with the Devil, and this was another record that caught me by surprise. This is the 9th studio record from the California-based hard rock band. I've loved this band going all the way back to 1990's Wicked Sensation. George Lynch is a hell of a guitarist. So how does this record measure up? I'll start by saying that Lynch doesn't disappoint. His guitar work is absolutely on point. Musically, this album is a blues-based rock album for the most part. I really enjoy Lynch's bluesy solo on Pictures of the Dead. He's also got some killer solos on Love and Denial and Follow Me Down. I also enjoy vocalist Andrew Freeman. He's got a grit to his vocals that fits right in with the gritty blues-based rock music. I do like the record for the most part, despite a few duller moments. Some standout tracks for me are Pictures of the Dead, Saints and Sinners, Machine Bone, and Follow Me Down. I also checked out the new record from Dissidia titled Deeper Wells of Meaning. The Australian progressive metal band is back with its second full-length record after a 5-year wait. Opener Hellish Embellishment is a banger. There's some outstanding guitar work from Corey Davis on this song. The machine gun drums are thunderous. Vocalist Mitch Brockman is on fire. He weaves between theatrical clean vocals and blood-curdling growls. Keyboards add a level of ethereal ambiance. Just a killer song. I hear a little bit of djent sound on Few and Far Between. The musicianship is phenomenal all throughout the record. There's a dedication to precision on the execution of these tracks that are just spectacular. The band weaves together moments of beautiful ethereal ambiance and crushing heavy-as-hell riffs effortlessly. This is one hell of a killer record. It gets another pick of the week from me. Standout tracks for me include Hellish Embellishment, Few and Far Between, Anatomy of a Cloud, A Statue of Time and Depth, and Impulsivity. I also checked out the new Dream Theater live record. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. I think it's Quarantiem Live à Paris. If there was ever any doubt that the musicians in Dream Theater aren't virtuosos all, then let this release remove that doubt from your mind. Plus, there's just something about knowing that Mike Portnoy is back behind the drum kit that gives this live release that little something extra. I know that there are those that like to criticize singer James LaBrie for not being able to hit certain high notes in a live setting anymore, or for taking shortcuts by singing at a lower octave a bit off-key. I'm just going to say that I understand that with age and wear, our voices change. We're not able to hit the notes that we used to, so I take no issue with him doing this, especially in light of the fact that all of the other musicians in the band play their parts with flawless precision live. This is an outstanding live set. The band sounds fantastic. I haven't seen them live before, so this is sort of the next best thing. I also checked out the Downward Spiral Redux. I honestly wasn't sure what to expect with this. Sometimes these tribute records are all over the place. The bands are all given permission to make these songs their own. We do have a pretty interesting bunch of covers here. Mr. Self-Destruct is one of my favorite Nine Inch Nails songs ever, and Black Tusk does a pretty good cover. They definitely put their own spin on it. Gone is the dark industrial sound of the original. It's replaced by a more thrash metal rendition. Then you have Thief's cover of Piggy, which does contain industrial elements and is closer to the original version. Sandrider's cover of March of the Pigs is fantastic. It has all the energy of the original while still making it their own. Davar delivers a sludgy metal cover of Closer. It's okay. The best part of it is the sexy way that vocalist Pardis Latifi delivers the lyrics. The two bands that really drew me to this album, though, are Dreadnought and Between the Buried and Me. Dreadnought's cover of The Becoming is outstanding. It maintains the essence of the original while also putting their own spin on it. I really like the sort of trippy flavor they give the song, complete with a bit of flute. Between the Buried and Me covers the album closer Hurt. It's an excellent cover, maintaining the emotional resonance and ambiance of the original. Some will say that Johnny Cash's cover is the best version of the song, and it's hard to disagree with that. However, Between the Buried and Me does a damn good job. On the whole, this Redux record is really damn good. Give it a listen if you dig the Nine Inch Nails and their legendary album, The Downward Spiral. The other side of that coin is the Best of Nine Inch Nails Redux. This is another tribute to Nine Inch Nails, this time covering a broader swath of Nine Inch Nails' discography. I mentioned with the Downward Spiral Redux that these tribute albums can be all over the place, and this fits the bill. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Take, for instance, Snake Mother's cover of The Day the World Went Away and Sin. These are combined into one song. Tonally, these are two totally different songs. I didn't care for the more rocked-up version of The Day the World Went Away, but their version of Sin wasn't too bad. There's no hint of the industrial sound on Sin. It's more done as a sludgy rocker. I outright dislike Blue Heron's cover of Head Like a Hole. It's just not good. I think it totally misses the spirit of the original. What drew me towards giving this record a try is The Ocean's cover of Even Deeper. I love The Ocean and felt like they would be able to do a good job with the song. I feel like they do a pretty good job with it. The Ocean puts a lot of their own flavor into this while maintaining the original essence of the song. Non-existent Night's cover of The Perfect Drug is pretty good too. It's not perfect, but I do feel like it's pretty faithful. Chrome Ghost's version of Every Day is Exactly the Same is faithfully done as well. Bleak Heart's cover of Something I Could Never Have is properly atmospheric, moody, and ethereal. It's a really great cover. Overall, this compilation is a mixed bag, but it does have its moments. I also checked out the new EP from Trivium titled Struck Dead. This is the fourth EP from the Orlando, Florida-based metal band and the first release in 4 years. Matt Heafy and crew have lost none of their potency. This EP brings the heavy, thrashy metal from the outset. There's some outstanding guitar work to be found, including the blistering solos on Bury Me With My Screams and Struck Dead. Closer's Six Walls feels big and anthemic. New drummer Alex Rudinger's drums sound so crisp and clear. They are absolutely thunderous. Heafy's vocals are vicious and full of vitriol. This is an outstanding listen. I cannot wait for a new full record from these guys. This is another pick of the week. I also checked out the live EP from Northlane titled Audio Tree From Nothing. I really dig the Audio Tree live session EPs. They have had a lot of really great artists do performances for them. Australian prog metalers Northlane are no exception to that. The performance feels intimate. The band sounds outstanding. I do have a small nitpick. It sounds like the mix on the drums is kinda lifeless. There's just not a lot of punch to them. That's a minor complaint, though. The live performances of Bloodline and After Image stand out in particular. Vocalist Marcus Bridge really shines on these two tracks. Musically, the band sounds tight. The nuance and precision comes through perfectly in the guitar work from John Daly and Josh Smith. This short live EP is definitely worth checking out. I also checked out the new live record from Persephone titled Live in Andorra. The production is more raw and muddy than in other more polished sounding live records that I listened to. I really enjoyed listening to the live arrangement of Stillness is Timeless. There's a certain crushing beauty to it, especially with the additional strings that really come out in this live performance. In fact, that same crushing beauty permeates this entire live album. I have to take my hat off to guitarists Carlos Lozano Quintanilla and Felipe Baldaya, bass guitarist Tony Mester Coy, and keyboardist Miguel Espinoza, and drummer Sergi Verdaguer, I believe that's how it's pronounced. I apologize if I butchered your names. The meticulous execution in this live set is truly something to take in. I also listened to the new live record from Tesseract featuring Choir Noir. The record's titled Radar Live. What an incredible live record. I wish that I could have been there for the live performance of this show at the Radar Festival. The band sounds phenomenal. The addition of Choir Noir takes these songs to a whole different level. Daniel Tompkins' vocals sound great here. He shows a lot of range, and he is absolutely on point. Guitarist Akil Khani and James Monteith likewise put on a flawless and precise performance. Jay Postona's drums sound great and are mixed very well here. This is a very strong set list with pristine production. My understanding is that this was years in the making. Lots of ideas going back and forth between the band and Choir Noir. The live arrangements they created are transcendent. I would love to see the band do this production on a broader tour, maybe bring it over to North America. And finally, I checked out the deluxe edition re-release of Earthside's Let the Truth Speak. Listen, do yourself a favor right now and pause the podcast and pull up this album. Put it in your ear holes right now and take it in. Give it a listen or two and then come back and finish the podcast. This is a deluxe re-release of Earthside's 2023 sophomore record, and it is absolutely magnificent. Had we been doing the podcast back in 2023, this would have been in my top 5 of the year. May have even hit number 1. It's a beautiful and cinematic journey full of emotional highs, soaring melodies, gorgeous atmospheres, and some truly amazing moments that will leave you breathless. It features a host of guests, including Ketera, Pritam Adhikari, Arlon, Daniel Tompkins of Tesseract, and many more. Some standout tracks for me are We Who Lament, The Lesser Evil, and Let the Truth Speak, and All We Knew and Ever Loved. Of course, it wouldn't be a deluxe edition without some extra tracks. This version comes with a whole second disc, featuring some new songs, some remixes, some expanded versions, and some instrumental versions. I just want to take a moment to point out a few more of my favorites. Let the Truth Speak Genedy version is a gorgeous alternate take of the original. You don't hear Daniel Tompkins' vocals on this version. Instead, it's all instrumental with some additional atmospherics. Denial's aria, Ambient, is also beautiful. As the version name implies, there's a more ambient, atmospheric take on an already ethereal and atmospheric song. Earthsync featuring Daedric is another outstanding track. I could literally go on and on waxing lyrical about this album, but my words just don't do it justice. I highly recommend this record. Listen right now. All right, Michael. Anything else from you before we move on?
No.
Big list from me, right?
Yes.
Did I pique your interest on anything?
Well, a lot of those things a decent amount, I'm pretty sure you read off, I've already had to listen to. But there was a couple.
I really think you should check out that Earthside record, dude. Good stuff.
All right.
All right, so we will move on now to the Art of Discovery. And this is the segment wherein we take a listen to some bands that are either unsigned or just not getting the love that we feel they deserve. And this is actually our best of the Art of Discovery 2025 segment. We've got 5 songs instead of our customary 3. We're going to kick things off with a melodic 90s, 2000s-ish alt-rock metal band from Glasgow, Scotland. This is Caustic Waves with their song Neon Claws.
Colors collide.
And once again, that was Caustic Waves with their song Neon Claws. That comes from their record from 2025 titled Echoes. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page, causticwaves.bandcamp.com. Michael, I know that was one of your favorite songs off of the Echoes record.
Still hasn't changed.
Still rocks hard.
Yes, it does.
All right, our next song comes from a sludge-infused progressive death metal band from the UK. This is Bragging Rights with their song Quake. And once again, that was Quake by Bragging Rights. That comes from their 2025 record titled Carpe Jugulum. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page, braggingrights2022.bandcamp.com. Michael, that was one of my favorites from Carpe Jugulum. That song goes hard as hell, man.
It does.
Yeah, dude. Was that one of your songs from the record?
Yeah.
All right, our next song comes from a blackened avant-garde metal band from New Jersey. This is Am I in Trouble with their song White. And once again, that was Am I in Trouble with their song White. That comes from the record titled Spectrum, which came out earlier this year. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page, amiintrouble.bandcamp.com. Michael, Spectrum started out being one of the best records I heard all year this year. It remained so. I love this song. I love Spectrum. Great record.
It is amazing.
Yep. Outstanding. All right, our next song comes from a post-hardcore alt-rock metal band from Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is meanue with their song Anthropocene. And once again, that was meanue with their song Anthropocene. That comes from their 2025 EP titled The Divine Evolution, Extinction, and Other Modern Prophecies, Volume 2. You can purchase their music from their Bandcamp page, meanue.bandcamp.com. Michael, the entire album that encompasses both Volume 1 and Volume 2 are absolutely fantastic. I love this song. This is one of my favorites from the record.
I do too. I also like that whole entire 2 EPs.
Yep, outstanding stuff. Okay, Michael, our final song on this segment comes from a modern metalcore artist from Durham, North Carolina. This is Megg Jacobs with her song Break the Mirror. And once again, that was Megg Jacobs with her song Break the Mirror. You can purchase her music from their Bandcamp page, meggjacobs.bandcamp.com. Michael, we featured 3 songs now from Megg Jacobs this year, and all of them have been completely fantastic. While she hasn't put out an EP or an album, all of the singles she's put out, chef's kiss. From the very bottom of my heart, I want to take a moment to thank every single one of the bands and artists we have gotten to feature on The Art of Discovery this year. It's truly an honor and a privilege to share your music with our listeners. This is our favorite segment on the show. I love discovering new music and sharing it with others. I'm very much looking forward to continuing on into the future, discovering more bands and introducing our listeners to them. Thank every single one of you so much.
And also from last year.
100%. Yeah. Michael, anything else before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. So now we'll get into our main topic. We're going to talk about our top 5 records of 2025. I put together a list of my top 18 albums, and I provided those to Michael, and I'm like, here, check these out, because I know that he doesn't really listen to a lot of the new releases like I do. Like, I listen to new stuff every week when new stuff comes out. So I put together this list of 18 albums. I'm like, here, check these out. Let's see what you like, and let's give our listeners a taste. Michael, we're going to go back and forth on this. I'm going to let you start.
So how are we gonna do it this year? Are we gonna do what we did
let's
last year?
do 5 through 2. Then we can give our honorable mentions, and then we'll reveal our number ones. All right, Michael. So kick us off. Give us your number 5 record of 2025.
I'm gonna start it off with number 5, which is Spirit Box. I don't remember the album name because I didn't type it down.
Tsunami Sea.
Okay. I didn't type down any of the album names because I didn't feel like clicking the 3 dots on each band and figuring out where the song traces back to.
So what did you like about Tsunami Sea?
I love the vocals, I love the drum work, and I love the guitar work. I like the different mixes between screaming and clean on a whole bunch of the songs. And I listened to this a lot at the beginning of the year. And probably my standout tracks is the first track, which I'm probably going to butcher if I try and read. And Perfect Soul.
Are you referring to, I think it's Fata Morgana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Deep End.
Good stuff.
All right, let's hear it from you.
All right, my number 5 is Rivers of Nile's Rivers of Nile. This is the 5th album from American prog death metal band Rivers of Nile, and is the first without their original frontman, Jake Diffenbach. I remember having some concerns leading up to this release, since Diffenbach was a big part of the band's sound. My concerns were quickly laid to rest. Adam Biggs absolutely slays on the vocals with some absolutely blood-curdling growls and screams. He also contributes some outstanding clean vocals. Musically, this album is crushingly, brutally heavy. Interspersed throughout are some more mellow, ethereal transitions. And as you may already well know, I love it when prog metal bands add in sax. It just takes things to a whole new level for me, and we get some of that on this record. In my mind, the undisputed masterpiece of this record is Water and Time. It's a mellower piece, but it feels so cinematic and emotional, and yes, includes some sax. This is an incredible listen and an incredible new beginning for Rivers of Nile. Standout tracks for me: The Suborbital Blues, Dustman, Water and Time, House of Light, and The Logical End. All right, Michael, let's get your number 4.
Well, my number 4 is basically your number 5. It is Rivers of Nile's album.
It's amazing.
You basically said it all. I don't really need to say any more. We basically have the same standout tracks and everything.
Dude, that Water and Time song, it's so good. And I mean, House of Light is too. Water and Time and House of Light are probably like the two just absolute masterpieces on the record, although I do put Water and Time just a bit above. But I love when they throw in that saxophone. I don't know what it is. I just love it.
Uh,
Do you feel any certain way about the saxophone?
no,
Does it catch you off guard?
honestly, I'm prepared for random like sounds at this rate.
I know you've heard the song Where Owls Know My Name by Rivers of Nile.
Have I?
Was this the first full album you've ever listened to?
Yes. I,
Okay.
yeah, I think you have played the one song. Okay.
Yeah, I know I've definitely played the song. I may have played you some other songs from it too, but I know I've definitely played Where Owls Know My Name. Got anything else?
I do not.
Okay. So my number 4 comes from Coheed and Cambria. Their new record, Vaxis Act 3, The Father of Make Believe. Coheed and Cambria's 11th studio record is a return to form for the band. The band has more of that pre-Year of the Black Rainbow feel. It's definitely my favorite record of theirs since Good Apollo Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. The album is full of those familiar Coheed and Cambria upbeat pop rock anthems. Claudio Sanchez has always had a gift for taking these complex and oftentimes dark lyrical themes and setting them to infectious pop prog rock rhythms. The band shows this in spades on this album. Michael and I had the privilege of going to see the band on their tour for this record earlier this year. These songs shine in the live setting. This album is likely going to go down among the pantheon of favorite Coheed and Cambria records in the minds and hearts of the fans in the years to come. Standout tracks for me: Goodbye Sunshine, Searching for Tomorrow, Blindside Sunny, and Tethered Together. All right, Michael, let's get your number 3.
My number 3 is, please tell me I'm saying this correct, Ginger?
Yeah, Ginger,
All right.
with their album Duel.
I love how it brings all the heavy throughout the whole entire album, especially
Yes, dude.
on that first song. It just immediately kicks in. I love the vocal work, the drum work, and the guitar work. It just all fits so well together, and an awesome record. And this is why it has earned this place for me. My standout tracks are Hedonist. I I'm not even gonna try and say. And Green Serpent.
Yeah, dude. Their singer, Tatiana Shamaluk, she's freaking fantastic. She's amazing.
Agreed. All right, let's
All
hear
right.
it.
Yeah, so my number 3 comes from Dream Theater with their new album, Parasomnia. Dream Theater's 16th studio album marks the return of Mike Portnoy to the drum kit for the first time since 2009. There's something magical about this record, like a band that has renewed vigor, having been reunited with their brother. The album has a darker, sinister sound to it. I'd even go so far as to say that this might be the band's heaviest sounding record since 2003's Train of Thought. Take, for instance, the opening guitar riff to A Broken Man. If you didn't know better, you could almost swear it sounds like something Michael Ackerfeld wrote for Opeth. Lyrically, the album is a thematic concept album that deals with different types of disruptive sleep disorders. It's a harrowing, haunting, and emotional journey and goes among my favorite Dream Theater records. Standout tracks for me include Night Terror, A Broken Man, Midnight Messiah, and the Shadow Man Incident.
Fair.
All right, Michael, let's get your number 2.
My number 2 is Coheed and Cambria's new record.
Yep. Vaxis 3, the father of make-believe.
I love this album. I just gotta state that. Fun fact. Coheed was my most listened to artist this year on Spotify.
This was really the year that you discovered Coheed.
Yes. But partially, the reason why it's so high is most of my... I think for like 200 songs on my playlist, it's just straight Coheed and Cambria.
So you have to listen to it on shuffle so that you don't have to hear all of that straight through.
I have to because I didn't like mix it up as I was adding them. I just went by artist down. The first of the playlist is Some Dust, and then it goes into Periphery, and then I don't remember what goes into after. There's so many songs on that playlist now. There's like over like 1,200, I think now. But this record is probably their best since Good Apollo Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow. I love the guitar work, and I love the drum work, and I love Claudio's vocals. And I love how each song had a different feel while listening through. My standout tracks are Goodbye Sunshine and MERI of Mercy. I don't know how to pronounce the first part. I know the other parts. But amazing album, and it deserves this.
Awesome. Good choice. All right, for my number 2, I've picked in Abstract Illusions, The Sleeping City. The Swedish progressive death metal band's third album instantly made its way into heavy rotation for me. It has become my favorite release from the band. It's such an outstanding listen. There is so much musical depth to this collection of songs. Blood-curdling growls and screams in the verses, some emotional melodic vocals in the choruses. There are plenty of machine gun drums and sick, heavy-as-hell riffs to be found, but some of my favorite stuff is the quieter, more melodic moments. The layers of ambiance from the keyboards and the majestic sounds of the additional strings to some of the tracks lends deeper emotional depth. The sounds of the keyboards on this record harken back to some of my childhood favorite 80s sci-fi soundtracks. Standout tracks for me include Black Murmur, Like a Geyser Ever Erupting, Frostflower, Emmett, and The Sleeping City.
Those are fair choices.
Great stuff. All right, Michael, before we reveal our number 1, let's take a look at some honorable mentions. What do you got?
So, are we going from 6 down or 10 up?
I mean, you don't have to necessarily reveal them in any specific order. So whatever you want to do is fine.
I put them in order.
Okay, well, do them from the bottom up then. So,
at number 10, I have an Abstract Illusion. I got through it. I love the vocals, and I love guitar work, and I love the unique sounds that they use. And of course, amazing drum work. And I love the song Frostflower because the beginning gives me like a Final Fantasy vibe, you know?
Yeah, dude. Yep.
Like you're going into like one of those more like peaceful areas.
There's a beauty to it.
Then it starts to pick up, and then it like ends on a like suspenseful, and then it gets into amazing vocals. But amazing album. I'd listen. I would recommend listening through all of it.
For me, I didn't put my honorable mentions in any particular order because they're all great. So, in no particular order, I'm going to go ahead and start out with Spirit Box's Tsunami Sea. This is the sophomore effort from the Canadian progressive metalcore band, and it is outstanding. It just barely missed the cut for my top 5. For me, their musical sound reminds me quite a bit of gent bands like Periphery and Tesseract. Courtney LaPlante is one of my favorite vocalists in metal. Her screams have all the proper venom and brutality. Where she really shines for me are her cleans. She's got an amazing voice. Check out a song like Perfect Soul to get a good example of how good her cleans are. It's a really melodic song with some great ambiance. Her vocals are at times ethereal and haunting on the song. Some standout tracks for me include Fata Morgana, Perfect Soul, and Deep End.
Oh, we have the same opinion.
All right, Michael, what else you
All
got?
right, for number 9, it is. I'm gonna butcher this. Allegheny or yeah,
Elegion,
Legion. I was nowhere
the
close.
ossuary
Yeah, I
lens.
was nowhere close.
You're good.
Uh,
Some of these band names are incredibly hard, and you see me struggling with some of the names too, so don't feel bad.
There is just amazing guitar work on this record, and I love the vocals and I like the drum work, but holy moly. I have to state this again. Guitar work is outstanding. And standout
Yeah,
tracks
dude.
for those is Chaos Theory and The Swarm. Whew.
Yeah, dude. Great
Especially
choices. That's such a good album.
especially The Swarm for the opening. Whew.
That record just rips your eardrums out and melts your face, dude. It's such a good
Yes.
record. The next honorable mention for me is the new record from Between the Buried and Me titled The Blue Nowhere. This is the 11th record from Between the Buried and Me, and it shows the further evolution of the band. This one feels like it had a bit of 80s new wave influence to it. This certainly makes the sound of this record stand out from anything else the band has done. There's also some really outstanding, funky feeling bass work on this record, on tracks such as the opener Things We Tell Ourselves in the Dark and God Terror. Musically, there's lots of melody, tonal, and timing shifts which keep things interesting and keeps the listener on their toes. There are songs that are absolute tour de forces in and of themselves. Take a listen to Absent Thereafter for a good example of this. Vocalist Tommy Rogers explained that, conceptually, this record exists in a world that's not tied to a storyline. It's more about a feeling where they live for me. Lyrically, Rogers stated he approached the songs as journal entries, fleeting and introspective thoughts, chaotic at times, depending on the music. Standout tracks for me include God Terror, Absent Thereafter, and Psychomantium. All right, Michael, what you got next?
Right. For number 7, I have Killswitch Engage's album.
Yep, This Consequence.
I love the vocals and I love the drum work. And I like the heavy vocals and clean vocals because they just fit in well. And the fact that every song makes you want to headbang.
Yeah, dude, that album is super, super
Yes.
thrashy. And Jesse Leach is on fire on the vocals, I agree.
And my standout track is Forever Aligned.
Yep, that was the first single released from the record, too. It's a good song.
Was it first or second?
It was the
Okay.
first single released.
Was the second one, I believe?
I believe so. I can't remember for certain, but I do know Forever Aligned was the first song from the record.
I remember
released.
getting Spotify ads for this record.
So, interestingly enough, Michael, we're aligned on this because my next honorable mention is also Killswitch Engage's This Consequence. The band's ninth album is, in my opinion, the best one since 2009's self-titled record. I'm not saying the band hasn't had good songs or even decent records since then, but This Consequence as a complete work is fantastic. The band is at their absolute best here. They lean into their more hardcore roots on this record, resulting in a heavier and more raw sounding record. That's not to say that they don't go into their more melodic side as well, because they definitely do, but they still manage to maintain that raw power and heaviness. I mentioned in my original Quake review earlier this year that this is the album we needed, and I still believe that. Jesse Leach's vocals are among the best he's ever done. There's a lot of deep emotion being expressed in this record, a plea to open our eyes and maybe find a way to come together before it's too late. It was painful to leave this record out of the top 5 because it's that damn good. The metalcore originals are still out here showing us how it's done. Salute! Standout songs include Abandon Us, Aftermath, Where It Dies, and Collusion. All right, Michael, what you got next?
My seventh honorable mention is Dream Theater's record.
Parasomnia.
Yep. I love the haunting feel you get through this whole entire record. It reminds me of so much of a Opeth record. It's something funny.
It definitely has that haunting
Yeah.
vibe, right?
And it just adds on and adds on, especially with the background noises. It's haunting as hell. But my standout track is Night Terror.
Yeah, dude. Good song. Good song. It's great to hear Mike Portnoy back behind the drum kit, too. I think the entire band is just on fire. Good choice.
Thank you.
My next honorable mention comes from Deftones and their new record, Private Music. The band's 10th album is, to me, a big return to form for Deftones. It's definitely my favorite record since 2010's Diamond Eyes. The sound on Private Music is thick with atmosphere and ambiance, which makes this record feel huge. Chino's vocals are soaked in emotion. See the ballad, I Think About You All the Time, for a really good example of the emotion I speak of. It's hands down my favorite song on the record. Everything about it feels like an atmospheric love letter. This record got a ton of play from me, and I agonized over whether or not this was going to make the top 5. It missed the cut, but is solidly in my top 10. Standout songs include My Mind is a Mountain, Ecdysis, Infinite Source, I Think About You All the Time, and Metal Dream. All right, Michael, let's get your last honorable mention.
Well, this was going to be number 6, which is Deftones' record. This
Wow. Okay. You caught me totally by surprise. I was convinced this was going to be in your top 5.
This barely almost made it. But I love the guitar work and the drum work and the vocals. I like that all of the songs transfer from each other, and I love the echo effect they do on some of the songs. I love all the tracks on the record, but I gotta say probably my favorite is I Think About You All the Time, because I love the slow opening, and it reminds me so much of Love's Is It Really You?
Yeah, it's got that kind of atmospheric, ethereal thing going. Yeah.
If I were to look at my Spotify Wrapped from last year, I think Is It Really You was probably my most played song. I, I,
Such a good song off a really good
I
album.
swear I listened to that way too much.
No such thing. All right, for me, my final honorable mention goes to Sea Sarin with their album The World Outside. After an 11-year hiatus, Sea Sarin returned with their third studio record, and what a return it is. There is so much to take in with this record. The music is very much in that classic prog metal style, but also integrates heavier modern moments with harsh screaming vocals. There are some absolute monster riffs to be found. The addition of keyboards, violins, acoustic guitars, and other instruments helps to really fill out the sound of the record and give it plenty of variation. Jay Lamb is a phenomenal vocalist and multi-instrumentalist. He wrote all of the lyrics and music for the record. The album features some guest spots that add a lot of flavor and beauty to the songs. Take, for instance, Steffi Kennelly's guest vocals on The Rose on the Ruin. There's also the outstanding guitar solos provided by Andy Gillian, Dan Hoyos, and several others that help to make these songs sound absolutely epic. Standout tracks include Where None Shall Follow, The Rose on the Ruin, and When the Wretched and the Brave Align. All right, Michael, it's that time. Time to reveal your number one record of 2025.
I want you to try and guess it real fast. I want
What's
you to
that?
try and guess it before I reveal it.
Well, the ones that I thought might have a chance, we've already mentioned. So I'm really not sure. You've got me baffled. I don't know.
It is The Reticent with their album Please.
Wow. Wow. So you have completely caught me by surprise. Completely. Because I could have sworn that you would have definitely had that Deftones record there at number one. I'm genuinely surprised.
The main thing that just sets it up for number one, the message. That's one of the big things. But also,
Yeah, dude.
great guitar work, amazing vocals, and just an amazing record all around. And I like how each song has its own uniqueness from each ah
Yeah, I
yeah
get what you're saying. It's unique from each other.
yeah. And I would recommend just listening to this, listen to it all the way through.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is a record that you drop everything for to listen to.
100%. Get your best set of headphones and just let it take you.
And probably my favorite on the record is the Riptide and the Chant.
The Riptide and the
Yes.
Chants.
I did
Yeah.
not type out everything, but that's the beginning part. There's parts in
Good
brackets.
choices. Yeah. So that'll take me to my number one. And we have something in common because my number one is also Please by the Reticent. They say that a writer writes at their best when they write from experience. The Reticent's frontman and songwriter Chris Hathcock knows something about this. Having lost his father and going through all the emotions, grief, and pain that comes with it, add to that a crumbling marriage and feelings of isolation, all of this weighing him down to the point that he considered ending it all. But something saved him. The sound of the song Early Grave by the Contortionist pulled him back. He took it as a sign from his father telling him not to go through with it. Chris then poured all of these emotions, grief, and pain into the creation of Please. During the recording of Please, he suffered a larynx injury that has never fully healed, but he was able, after 6 weeks of silence, to return to singing. Suffice to say, Chris went through it. He's still going through it. And through it, the Reticent has created perhaps its most poignant work in Please. I love records that make me feel something, records that touch me emotionally, plucking at my heartstrings. I've been through the hell that is losing my father. I lost him far too soon and far too young to lung cancer. I know that grief and that pain all too well. The songs on Please deal with mental health and some of the different disorders that come with it. Things like sleep disorders, panic attacks, panic disorders, depression, and suicide. It also delves into the minds of those that try to hide their disorders from others, and into the minds of those that belittle and look down on those suffering from mental health disorders. It's a hauntingly beautiful record with outstanding and oftentimes meticulous, complex musicianship. You can hear the influences of bands like Rush, The Contortionist, Tool, and Opeth in the songs. The songs weave in and out of heavy, crushing segments and calmer, more melodic moments. Chris Hathcock's vocals are soaked with emotion, pain, anger, and grief. He's able to deliver harsh growls and screams, along with melodic cleans when the music calls for them. Please is a masterpiece of dark, haunting, emotionally charged beauty. Its message lingers with you long after the final note is played. It is undoubtedly my top album of 2025. Standout tracks for me include The Concealment, Those Who Don't Want to Wake, The Night River, Those Who Can't Rest, The Bed of Wasps, Those Consumed with Panic, and The Chance, Those Who Let Go.
Amazing picks.
Outstanding. And that is going to take us to our question for the audience. What are your top 5 records of 2025 and why? Michael, do you have anything else before we move on?
I do not.
All right. It was an outstanding year in music. All right. So now we'll move into our next segment. This is Can't Wait. New music coming soon. And this is my list of most anticipated records of the first quarter of 2026. But before I get into that, Michael, do you have anything for this?
Actually, I would say Carnival.
Yep. The new record from Carnival and Versus comes out on February 6th.
What about that Seven Dust record? When does that come out?
So, no official release date as of yet.
Okay. Surprise drop right on New Year's Day.
Probably not. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, my list of most anticipated records starts on January 9th. Alter Bridge releases their new record. It's a self-titled record. On January 16th, Soen releases their new record, Reliance. On January 23rd, Megadeth drops their final record, self-titled Megadeth. Also, Textures drops their new record, Genotype. And Pelican drops their new EP, Ascending. On January 30th, The Hirsch Effect drops their new record, Der Brock, and Halas drops their new record, Panorama. On February 6th, we mentioned the new Carnival record, which is, decades and decades and decades in the making, titled Inverses. Also, Pussifer releases their new record, Normal Isn't. And the Silver Sun Pickups release their new record, Tinterhooks. On February 13th, we get the new record from Story of the Year titled Arson. On February 20th, what's that?
I said, okay.
On February 20th, we get the new record from Silosis titled The New Flesh. On February 27th, we get the new record from Rob Zombie titled The Great Satan. On March 27th, we get the new record. Well, it's not a new record. I should say it's a 20-year anniversary edition of 30 Seconds to Mars' second record, A Beautiful Lie. And then, recently announced, no official date set yet, but the new record from Deer in Grey titled Mortal Downer is on the way at some point in 2026. I would assume probably first quarter. And like Michael mentioned, we don't have a set release date yet, but Seven Dust has a new record on the way, which should be out sometime 2026 with no title released yet. All right, Michael, anything else before we move along?
Nope.
Okay. So now we'll get into our final segment. This is Michael's journey discovering a song from the past. And this time, we're getting Michael's thoughts on the Whitney Houston classic, How Will I Know? How Will I Know is a song recorded by American singer Whitney Houston from her self-titled debut studio album. It was released on November 22nd, 1985 by Arista Records as the album's third single. It was written and composed by George Merrill and Shannon Rubicam. It was originally intended for pop singer Janet Jackson, but she passed on it. Houston then recorded the song with altered lyrics and production from Narada Michael Walden. How Will I Know received mostly positive reviews from music critics. It became Houston's second number one single on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 in February of 1986, spending 2 weeks atop the chart, and also became her first chart topper on the Canadian RPM Top 100 Singles chart. It also reached top 10 positions in Australia, Sweden, Ireland, Norway, and the United Kingdom, and top 20 positions in the Netherlands, New Zealand, and Switzerland. The accompanying music video for How Will I Know features scenes of Houston dancing in a setting of video screens and colored partitions. The music video gave Houston exposure to teenagers via MTV and other video outlets. It received 2 nominations at the 1986 MTV Video Music Awards for Best Female Video and Best New Artist, winning the Best Female Video category. The song was performed on many of her tours, including the Greatest Love Tour in 1986 and Nothing But Love World Tour in 2009-2010. All right, with that little bit of background out of the way, Michael, let's get your thoughts on the song.
I love the beat and her vocals, and I love the keyboard. And this song is an absolute classic. And this is just an amazing song. And I think classic is a understatement. It is an amazing, iconic classic.
Had you ever heard the song before?
Yes.
You had? Okay.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, what does Spotify say about the listenership on that song?
I would have to look it up.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll give you my thoughts on the song. I'm a sucker for a beautiful voice, and Whitney Houston had that in spades. She had so much soul and power in her voice. She had a huge vocal range, truly a once-in-a-lifetime talent. This song is the first song that I ever remember hearing from her. It always stuck with me because of the infectious rhythm of the music and Whitney Houston's outstanding vocals. The little things she does with her vocals, the little inflections, her control is truly amazing. The vocal melodies are just as infectious and memorable as the music. The music definitely feels and sounds quintessentially 80s, but I do feel like it holds up well. A good pop song is timeless, and I feel like this fits the bill. Whitney would go on to make better songs, but this one marks the beginning for me. It's eternally memorable. What'd you find?
So, it is at 406 million,
Good number.
which, if I count right, is either fifth or fourth.
Wow.
All right,
All right, Michael. Let's get your rating out of 5.
I'm going to have to give it a 5 out of 5. That's it.
5 out of 5 from Michael. All right. Michael, up next on your journey, you're going to check out the song Goody Two Shoes by Adam and the Ants. And for our main topic, we're going to be discussing the Final Fantasy IV soundtrack as composed by Nobuo Uematsu. And with that said, we want to hear from you. We will read your emails and messages on the show. We have only one request. Keep them clean. There are several ways to contact us. You can email us at lightmovepod@gmail.com. You can also reach us on several social media platforms such as Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. Details on how to connect with us are in the show notes. We are part of the SPDM Crew Podcast Network. Check out all of the podcasts on the network by visiting spdmcrew.com.
If you like the show, subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform and share with your friends and family. We are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and a variety of other platforms. We're also on YouTube. Can't find us on your chosen platform? Shoot us a message and let us know. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This helps us be found in the algorithm. Make them good and we'll read them on the air. Are you in a band and you'd like for us to check you out and possibly drop a recommendation on the show? Shoot us a message. We'd love to check you out and give you a shout. We'd like to thank you very, very much for listening to the show this year.
Yep, and we would like to wish you all happy holidays. We will catch you in the new year. And as always, take care and enjoy music.